Advertising those high ticket home service luxury services on Facebook has always been known to bring in those cheap, low quality leads. So in this video, I'm gonna teach you guys how to get better results by advertising on Facebook. Also explain how Facebook works so you can get a better understanding of how to get those better leads, as well as talking about the targeting and how to navigate Facebook being one big black box for targeting. But real quick, my name is John Eberhard and I run a full stack marketing agency for local home service businesses that are between $2 and $5 million that want consistent year-over-year growth. If you need website help, Google My Business visibility, Facebook ads, Google ads, go to the link in my description and I would love to have a conversation with you. So for this all to make sense, let's just quickly talk about how Facebook ads actually work. So Facebook ads are scroll stopping, impulse buying or impulse action taking advertising that people were never really looking for, right? I'm sure you've heard this before, right? Someone's scrolling on Facebook, they see an ad. That's what typically strikes someone's interest. And that's why, platforms like Angie's List or Google ads are much different because Facebook ads is inherently its own system. It's that scroll stopping, interruption based marketing. When stuff like Angie's List, Google ads, whatever, they can be more search intent. And so those leads typically cost more. Facebook ads are cheaper. They both have their pros and cons, okay? And Facebook ads actually was originally created to market e-commerce companies, which makes sense, right? Because if you saw something that was cool or trendy, you can make a quick $30 impulse decision and move on with your life. But when you're advertising for, these luxury services that are priced at $10,000 and beyond, this isn't really that scroll stopping, like, oh my gosh, we have to buy this right now, quick sort of action. This is a pretty long process for most homeowners, and this is not just a quick flash decision. So if you are going to advertise for your luxury high ticket services, like let's say hardscaping, landscaping, asphalt paving, etc., if you are going to advertise those on Facebook, what is the best way to do it? So I'm going to give you guys a few of my recommendations that I use for clients, and then I'm going to give you one big cherry on top that brings this whole thing full circle, okay? So if you are going to be running ads on Facebook, make sure that you're showing your ads to certain zip codes or certain cities or areas in town that you have basically, handpicked yourself to make sure that you're not just showing your ads to everyone in this city, okay? As you know, in your area, wherever you live, there are more affluent areas, there are less affluent areas. That's just how it goes. So if your service is priced above $10,000 or beyond, then you definitely want to make sure that you're advertising to the right areas. You don't want your broad targeting to also have an effect on your location and do broad location targeting. You want to make sure that you're showing your ads to people who at least have a swinging chance at converting. Point number 2 is that you need to be leveraging high quality, good content, okay? If you have cheap, shitty content and ads, you're going to be attracting cheap, shitty customers, okay? That's super simple. People who have money do not want to see lousy, cheap BS marketing and just make a transaction. They want to go for the premium, the best. They want to go with someone that looks like they know what they're doing and has a good display of their work, okay? So if you use cheap marketing and you have shitty ads, you will bring in cheap, shitty customers. Super simple. Number 3 is that you need to have multiple different touch points. And what do I mean by that? I see so many ads nowadays where it seems like almost every single ad is top of funnel. Okay. But you have to understand the real buying process and the psychology behind what it takes for someone to make, a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 decision. What happens is in their head is they are going through, they have these different fears, these different questions that need to be answered, or you need to use your content to kind of get them over that bridge, right? So what do I mean by this is you need to be showing off different creative angles, maybe using some emotion, leverage the most valuable thing you have, which is creative, kind of touch at those pain points, oh, the price, how long is it going to take? Yada, yada, yada. You need to make sure that you're completing that full circle buying journey and not just showing people that top of funnel, oh, here's this flash offer, whatever. It's going to take more than that to convince someone. Now, lastly, right before that big cherry on top, one quick thing I want to add is please stay away from those native little Facebook forms. Okay, most people are just autofilling those. Anyone can click a button and fill those out. That's going to bring your cost per lead down, but your lead quality is going to absolutely plummet. Okay, again, if you want someone to make a big decision, it's going to cost them 10 or 20 grand. Bring them to a website with a good landing page that shows your work, shows your professional service, has good lead capture, and let them be able to navigate around and, learn about your company. Maybe they've seen your trucks before on the road or whatever. People want to learn. They're not just going to blindly, just swipe their card and be like, cool, see you guys soon. That's not what happens unless you're selling a $20 e-commerce product. Okay. But you're not. Okay. Drum roll, please. Okay. Now for the absolute cherry on top, and you have to stick with me here. The ultimate strategy to bringing in the best, highest quality leads for your luxury home service business and people that are not going to price gouge you, people that want a premium service is run Google ads and then retarget these people on Facebook. Now, before you click away, listen to the rest of this video. I promise you it will be worth it, okay? People who come from a Google search are very high intent. They are quite literally in the market for what you're selling. You may have heard that, out of like a whole pie, right? 3% of the people in your market are looking for your services. 47% know they have a problem or need a solution, and then the other 50% don't even know they have the problem, right? So what that means is that Google is bringing in those people, that 3%. And unless you are spending 30, 40, 50K plus a month and you're playing a market share game, you don't need to be doing all these crazy extra things that you think you need to be doing to get leads. You are playing in a very, very small piece of the pie. If you're spending 5, 10, 15K a month in any given area or city or whatever, you're not competing for market share. There is plenty of opportunity for you to get these deals. So now let's talk about Google Ads for a second. Even if you have the best website or the best landing page ever, if you're selling something that's not a necessity and it's 10K plus, let's just say that you at most will get about a 20% conversion rate, which is actually really good. But Google is going to convert those guys on their own. That's just going to happen through the Google ads. They're going to be high intent. They're not going to need all that other BS. They're in the market. They're ready to buy. They're impressed with what you have on your website, everything else. But what happens to the other 8 out of 10 people? Those people still came from a very high intent Google search. They're still in your market, but for some reason, based on your website or how it's displayed or the wording or whatever it is that they clicked away, they're off in the wind and they're still looking, to fill that void, to fix that solution. Now, what you need to do is you need to capture those people and put them into your Facebook ecosystem using a retargeting campaign. So now you're not just opening up a Facebook campaign using broad black box targeting, letting it show ads to whoever in your area. Now you know that you are spending your money on people who came from a high intent Google search. Every single dollar that you are spending, let me repeat this, is you're using that to show ads to someone who's in your market, came from Google Ads, and they don't have the full information. They don't have everything they need to make that informed decision. They haven't quite taken action yet. Okay. You need to show these people creative, that is emotional, offer based, pain point driven, before and afters, etc., to get them across that bridge to deciding to go with your company because you already know they're looking for it. Okay. And again, unless you're spending 50K a month or more, you're not playing a market share game. There is plenty of this opportunity for you in any given area. I can promise it. Okay. So for example, show them a before and after, of a backyard. Show them a picture of how much better, a new driveway compared to their old driveway looks in front of their house, etc., etc. The power of using Google Ads together with Facebook is an extremely powerful strategy. All I hear nowadays is people on the Google side or the Facebook side, and they're like, oh, Google this or Facebook that. Or, oh, no, we don't do Google Ads. We just do this, that. These platforms are so incredibly different in the way that you use them to advertise, to market, their goal, just the overall platform. These are like apples and oranges. And people just think this or that. But what you need to do is you need to leverage the pros of each of these platforms and use them together to create a full, real, true marketing system. Okay. You're not going to scale between 2 and 5 million to 7 and 10 just running some Facebook ads. I can almost promise you. And if you can, then that is awesome because there is so much volume out there that you can still have a lot of success with this if done right. But if you really want to grow and you really want people to know who you are and you want to grow your business, you need to be leveraging both of these together. And this strategy of leveraging, bringing people into the funnel from the high intent Google searches and then having a retargeting ecosystem with these creative angles on Facebook, this isn't rocket science. This is honestly just pure, simple psychology. Someone making a $10,000 plus decision, they need all their questions answered. They need all their fear reduced to make this decision. This is not a small decision for most homeowners. If I truly thought that Facebook ads on their own worked better than this strategy, or if it worked better than just doing Google ads, I would have spent the last 3 or 4 years doing Facebook ads for local home service companies because I don't care what it's called. I don't care what the platform is. I do what works and I do what gets the most results. So again, if Facebook ads alone worked better than everything I'm telling you, I would have become, the guy who runs Facebook ads for local home services and breaks them above 5 million a year. That's what I would be. But there's a reason why I'm doing this and teaching you this is because it works very well. So I'm gonna spend the last couple minutes of this video sharing with you guys a quick story that happened to me, and you can apply this to anything, any kind of luxury service or anything that someone doesn't need that's expensive. You can relate this to it. And this is a 100% true story that happened to me a couple years ago. Okay. So I've worn glasses and contacts for my entire life. I think I got glasses when I was in like first grade. Okay. I hated them. All right. I'm a guy. I'm 6'2". I'm a bigger guy. I like doing stuff. Okay. I would wear glasses. I felt fragile. it made me not want to get physical. I didn't want them to get hit off my head. I didn't want, someone to take them off my head and think they're funny. And that's embarrassing as hell. Okay. So I wore glasses my whole life. I tried contacts. I wore contacts for a long time, but my eyes are very dry. Okay. I would take them out. They wouldn't work. Sometimes I'd be afraid if I went swimming, they'd come out. I wouldn't be able to see anything and just be that kid sitting around who just can't see anything. That's also embarrassing, right? I didn't want anything to happen to that, right? So I always knew in the back of my head about LASIK eye surgery. Okay. I move out to Arizona. My eyes are drier than ever. I can't wear contacts at all. I just can't do it. So I'm back to my glasses. I hate them. Okay. I don't think I have a very symmetric face. I think my glasses are always kind of like, curved or slanted. I absolutely hate it. Okay. I saw an ad for LASIK eye surgery. And I was like, oh, yeah, LASIK eye surgery. Okay. At the time, I was working in a sales company, had a little, commission check nest egg. And I was like, this could be something to look into. Right. So I click on the ad. I'm looking through their website, looking at the doctors, looking at the company, their locations, their expertise. I'm like, okay, seems pretty cool, but again, like this is probably like 5,000 bucks on the high end. So it's not something I just signed up for and went in and bought. I had fears like any other normal person. I was like, dude, I'm pretty sure, they bring like a blade onto your eyeball. I was like, oh, damn, like I'm not going to do all that. Oh, I've heard that if you have really dry eyes, it's really not good for your eyes. You can have like permanent dry eye. And I was like, okay, like this sounds really cool, but like, just like anyone else on Facebook, when they see your ad for the first time, they click, they look around and they probably dip because like, okay, that's cool. But like, I'm not just going to make this $5,000 decision right now. So what happened? And if you've been paying attention to this video, you can probably guess what happened is that I saw another ad and it wasn't the same ad, but it was a different ad. And this time it was the CEO, the main doctor there. And he was talking about how technology has changed so much and that they don't even use, scalpels or blades or anything. It's all just purely a laser that is like the most advanced technology in the world and it can't mess up, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, wow. Okay, so there is no blade. Okay, I was uninformed. I was uneducated. I didn't know that. Okay, so boom, part of my fear already reduced. Then I saw one more ad. It was a 22-year-old girl who was like, come with me to get LASIK. And I was like, okay, great. Perfect. If she can do it, I can do it. Right. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. I'm a man. I'm a couple years older. I'm like, okay, if this girl can get LASIK, Johnny, you can man up and get LASIK. I see her. They have a camera on her. Like before, she's in the lobby. Her legs kind of shaking. She's a little bit nervous. She's like, I'm kind of scared. Don't really want to do this anymore. She goes and gets the LASIK. She sits up from the chair and the doctor just goes, you're done. And the look on her face when she was told to the doctor, or when the doctor told her that, oh, it's done, it's over, she was literally laughing with her friend out loud, laughing at how easy, at how painless, and how fast it was. She was like, oh my God, I am such a baby. I should have done this forever ago. That's what made me buy. I had all my fear removed. I was like, okay, if this 22-year-old girl is laughing her ass off with her friend about how simple that was, Johnny, you need to man up and go do it. That was the fastest I've ever spent $5,000 in my life. And after doing it, I heard, oh, dude, you could have got it for 3,800 here. All these places do it for 3,800 in the comments I saw in the ads. I went to the guys who do 3,800. It brought those fears back. And I was like, I could care less about that $1,200 difference. Does not matter. Completely irrelevant. So I was a customer who was not arguing about price, didn't care. I was like, these are the guys for the job. They've answered all my questions. All my fears are removed. I'm willing to pay a premium for this premium service because I trust these guys and I want them to do it. So this is exactly what you need to do with your customers. I know this was a dramatic, cosmetic surgery example, but the psychology is the exact same. I had my fears removed. I had my questions answered and I was ready to pay the premium for the experts to do the job. So my name is John Eberhard. I run a full stack marketing agency for local home services doing between 2 and 5 million to help them scale to 7 and 10 million and beyond with consistent year-over-year growth. Not the kind of BS growth that's just going to blow up your business and blow up your margins, but a company that's going to last and be sellable. So I hope I was able to teach you guys something and I'll see you in the next video.